Alright, so we made it outside of DC finally, and we've come to the battlefield of First Manassas. We're gonna come see where the Yankee boys got whooped and went running back home to mama. Also, a lot of people came out here to watch that battle that day because it's pretty close by DC, and they ended up having to run off too after the Confederates beat them. So here we go. We're starting here at this picnic area, and we're gonna walk around, see what we see. So inside the actual museum itself that they have for the battlefield, they have a lot of artifacts, not necessarily from the battle itself, but definitely time accurate things that actually came from the Civil War. Lots of uniforms, lots of guns, lots of swords. Other sort of things like cannonballs, shoes, pipes, and whatnots. There stands Jackson like a stone wall. This is where General Jackson got his name, boys. This is where he stood. He steadied the lines and he held against the invaders. Right here. I'll say this. It's impressive that he was able to stop his lines, but looking at the geographic location, I can definitely see why they were able to repel the people coming at them, since they're coming up these hills. Cannons. So, one of the defining features of this battle, something that made it really interesting, was during the time of the battle, since it was so early into the war, there was no uniform standardization that had happened yet. So units from both sides showed up here wearing gray, blue, red, green, lots and lots of different colors. Nobody really knew who was who, just based on looking at each other. You had to get the flags to be able to know. I think, at least in the movie Gods and Generals, and I think in books too, there's mentions of guys even showing up here, like a unit from Virginia that wore like Revolutionary War era uniforms, like colonial army uniforms. So that's pretty interesting, I'd say. And then there's some cannons out here. Well, this is what houses ended up looking like after the battle came raging through. Obviously, this is a much more modern version of whatever stood here before. But that shed looks pretty old. Looks like it might be OG. We're about to head down there to Cannonball House. I think it's actually called Stone House. We'll see you down there, boys and girls. Something I always appreciate at these Civil War battlefields is these fences. This is how they used to look back then. People, you can see there's no nails required. You just cut them, cut the wedges, put them in place, and just set it all in. Nice. Is nice. Well, right around here is where the battle first started. The Union coming from this direction right behind me. The Confederates coming from the opposite. And originally, when the battle first started, the Confederates were getting beat pretty bad. They ended up scrambling up that hill, running away, reforming up there with Jackson, and fighting their way back to eventually win the day. But one really cool thing about this
Tonina, this stone house right here, was actually used as a hospital during the battle. And on the other side, supposedly, they have cannonballs stuck in the walls. We're gonna go check that out right now. As you can see, I'm touching a real-life Civil War cannonball right here. You'll miss it if you don't look hard.
Meant to kill some northern guys, and it missed and became part of a house. Well,
One right there too.
this was the first major battlefield of the entire Civil War, and this is pretty much what made everybody realize the war wasn't going to be a quick one. Everybody thought this battle was going to pretty much just decide it, and the Union would come, beat the Confederates, and that would be that. They'd go back to how things were, but it ended up being 1861 to 1865, just dragging along. Long, hard, bloody war. How many people died?
Like 600,000?
Yep. It was not a good start.
No.
Not a good end.
It taught America one thing though. Nobody can kill Americans quite like Americans can. What's up with that, rest of the world? Are you a bunch of pussies or something?
Yeah. Al-Qaeda, try your best.
Don't give us a reason.
Japan, you ain't nothing. Don't make us fucking nuke you again.